Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, Text 3. We began with the Canto 4 yesterday. And so let's begin the reading. Prajapati sa Bhagavan Ruchistasyam Ajijanat Mithunam Brahma Varchasvi Paramena Samadhina. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ruchi, who was very powerful in his Brahmanical qualifications and was appointed one of the progenitors of the living entities, begot one son and one daughter by his wife Akuti. So does anyone remember who is Akuti?
She's the daughter of Swayambhu Manu, the first daughter of Swayambhu Manu.
Thank you. Do you remember what were the other daughters' name?
Dev Ahuti and Huti, Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti, sorry.
Prasuti. Right. Yeah, that's right. And so, and Akuti's husband now is Ruchi. That's her husband. Devahuti's husband was Gautama Muni. So the word Brahma Varchasvi is very significant. Ruchi was a Brahmana and he executed the Brahmanical duties.
Sorry, I just have one question. The progenitor is the Prajapati?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay, thank you.
He was in trust. The Prajapatis, the progenitors, were the one who were given the duty to populate the universe because the creation has just happened.
Like last time you said that Daksh was a Prajapati, so he's also one of the Prajapatis, right? Ruchi is also one of the Prajapatis.
Okay. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So Brahmana, Ruchi was a Brahmana and he was doing his Brahmanical duties very strictly, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Brahmanical qualifications. Now, what are the qualities of a Brahmana? Why is someone called a Brahmana? Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that they have these qualities: control of the senses, control of the mind, cleanliness within and without. Brahmana, Srila Prabhupada would say that a Brahmana is never going to be able to see anything dirty. He's going to just begin cleaning. Development of spiritual and material knowledge, simplicity, truthfulness, faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, etc. So these are some of the qualities by which a person is known to be a Brahmana. Development of spiritual and material knowledge. So here, he is not only having knowledge of the material world, but he has knowledge of the spiritual world also. Simple. He's simple, he's truthful, he has faith in God, faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, etc. Krishna gives in more detail in Bhagavad Gita. There are many qualities which indicate a Brahmanical personality, and it is understood that Ruchi followed all the Brahmanical principles rigidly. Therefore, he is specifically mentioned as Brahma Varchasvi, one who is born of a Brahmana father, but does not act as a Brahmana, is called in Vedic language a Brahma Bandhu, and is calculated to be on the level of Shudras and women. So Bhagavatam and all the Vedas, they explain to us that one has to be qualified as a Brahmana. Birth is not the qualification. The example is given: if one is born in the family of a doctor, he does not automatically become a doctor, but he has to enroll himself in a medical school. He has to learn under the guidance of the professors. He has to practice under a trained doctor. And then he passes his examinations, and then he's qualified. qualified doctor. Similarly, the Vedas, they tell us that birth is not a qualification, but by our qualities. If only based on birth, then a person is called Brahma Bandhu, friend of a Brahmana. Like Ashwathama. Ashwathama was referred to as Brahma Bandhu, although he is the son of Dronacharya, great Brahmana, but because of his qualification. Thus, in the Bhagavatam, we find that Mahabharata was specifically compiled by Vyasadeva for Stri Shudra Brahma Bandhu. So Mahabharata, Srila Vyasadeva compiled it for our benefit, for Stri Shudra Brahma Bandhu. Now we may say, oh, why is this? What does it mean for women and Shudras and Brahma Bandhus? What is happening? Why am I being degraded? Well, we have to understand, Bhagavatam says that in Kali Yuga, each and everyone is born a Shudra. In Kali Yuga, we don't have these Brahmanical qualities which are required. We hear in Bhagavad Gita, like now we are hearing. Control of senses, control of mind, cleanliness within and without. These are not easy qualities to develop. So Bhagavatam says that everyone is born a Shudra in the Kali Yuga. And then when we begin our spiritual life, we begin our spiritual life, we engage in devotional service, then we develop the Brahmanical qualities. So Mahabharata, why did Vyasadeva compile for us? It's like giving a candy to a child so that he can take the medicine. So Mahabharata is full of so much intrigue, so much plot, politics, so much is happening. Affairs, kidnapping, war, so much, It's like a big entertainment. But the idea is what? What's the main point of Mahabharata? Is the Bhagavad Gita. That is what Srila Vyasadeva wants us to understand. The Bhagavad Gita. Become a devotee of Krishna. And then he's packaged it within the Mahabharata. Just as, when we have to give a child a bitter medicine, we will give him a chocolate with it. So it's something like that. Stri means women, Shudra means the lower class of civilized human society, and Brahma Bandhu means persons who are born in the families of Brahmanas but do not follow the rules and regulations carefully. So Shudra means he's still within the Vedic system, within the Vedic culture. It's not that he's out of the society, he's still within the society. All of these three classes I'll call less intelligent. They have no access to the study of the Vedas, which are specifically meant for persons who have acquired the Brahmanical qualifications. Actually, in the Kali Yuga, none of us are qualified to read the Vedanta Sutra, because the sutras are written in the way the sutras are compiled. We don't have that intelligence to understand them. That's the reason Srila Vyasadeva has given us the Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all the Vedanta Sutra. It's the cream of the essence of Vedanta Sutra. Now, someone will say, women, what do you mean? Women are less intelligent. Why are we being called less intelligent? We have no study of access of the Vedas. Well, because it's not, the idea is that we women are like children. We get emotionally carried away. So in that way, but Prabhupada would say that anyone who has come to devotional service, that woman is very, very intelligent because she has come to devotional service. And also the idea that we have to understand is we are not man or woman. These are all material distinctions. We are all spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. Our man, woman, it's just an artificial covering covering of our true identity. We, each and every one of us, is a spirit soul. Each and every one of us has the right to study Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, to engage in devotional service, irrespective of where we are born, which country, which society, which gender. Yeah. So this restriction is based not upon any sectarian distinction, but upon qualification. So the reason why it was restricted in Vedic times. Now in Kali Yuga, we do not have the Vedic society. But at that time, why? Because the Brahmanas were really able to understand the Vedanta Sutra. And because they were able to understand it, they could teach it. Not everyone is a teacher. So then we go to the teacher to learn. That was the system to learn the Vedas. It was just for that. So that everyone can get the benefit of the Vedas. The Brahmanas will learn and they would teach it to others. So then everyone is happy. So it is regrettable, therefore, that persons who have no Brahmanical qualifications and have never been trained under a bona fide spiritual master nevertheless comment on Vedic literatures like the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. For such persons cannot deliver their real message. Ruchi was considered a first-class Brahmana. Therefore, he is mentioned here as Brahma Varchasvi, one who had full prowess in Brahmanical strength. So Prabhupada is saying that so many people heard their commentaries on Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. There's so many editions of Bhagavad Gita, and now with the internet, we open the internet and there are more and more people commenting on the Bhagavad Gita without having an idea, without having any qualification to comment on it. And people are putting their commentaries. But this is just creating more and more confusion in society. We have to learn the message of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita from the spiritual master in the disciplic succession. That is the correct way to understand spiritual knowledge, not by some professional speaker. Does anyone want to add anything or comment anything before we move on to the next verse?
No.
Then we'll go ahead. Yastayo Purusha Sakshad Vishnur Yagya Swarupadre Yastri Sa Dakshina Bhuter Amsha Bhutana Payani. Of the two children born of Akuti, the male child was directly an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his name was Yagya, which is another name of Lord Vishnu. The female child was a partial incarnation of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, the eternal consort of Lord Vishnu. So Yagya, incarnation of Lord, is come as the son of Akuti. So, and this is the son that Swayambhuva Manu said he wants, because he knew that the Supreme Lord is coming. Yagya is another name of Lord Vishnu. Any yagya which is done is meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. So in our mind, traditionally, a yagya means a fire sacrifice. There is the Agni Kund, and we are lighting the fire. So this fire represents who? That's the mouth of Lord Vishnu. And all the oblations, the offerings are put in there for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So Akuti also gave birth to a female child who is a partial incarnation of Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, the eternal consort of Lord Vishnu. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is the eternal consort of Lord Vishnu. Here it is stated that both the Lord and Lakshmi, who are eternal consorts, appear from Akuti simultaneously. Both the Lord and his consort are beyond this material creation. as confirmed by many authorities, Narayana Parovyakta. Therefore, the eternal relationship cannot be changed, and Yagya, the born of Akuti, later married the goddess of fortune. So, according to material standards, we living entities, we are the souls, but we are being born in this material world and we are taking on different material bodies. And then, if we are born of the same mother, we are called brothers and sisters, right? Brother and sister. And then we don't marry brothers and sisters according to the Vedic system. But here we are seeing the Lord is appearing as Yagya, and Lakshmi ji is also appearing at the same time from same mother, Akuti. So what's happening? We have to understand that the Lord is not material. His body is not material. He is not bound by these material laws. His form is Satchidananda. So the relationship, you see, the relationship is with not with the body. The eternal relationship is with the individuals. So Narayan and Lakshmi ji are eternally their consorts. Eternally their husband-wife. That relationship can never be changed. So now they are apparently taking birth from the same mother, but the eternal relationship is the same. We can't change that. Like our eternal relationship with Krishna is Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. We are eternally servants of Krishna, but we have forgotten it. And we are thinking we are the bodies and acting according to the body. But the Lord never forgets He's the Lord. He never thinks He's the body. So He's just acting in His natural relationship. Is that okay? Any questions, comments?
So is it because of this only that people imitate, and in few sect of society, brother and sister can get married, like if they are cousins?
I don't
Maybe.
know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure,
just,
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, if we don't understand the position of the Supreme Lord, then we can misunderstand the activities of the Supreme Lord. That's what is the dangerous part. And that's the reason we should not hear Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita from professional reciters, rather hear from the devotees, so that we can get a correct understanding of what's the position of the Supreme Lord. And then we will be able to better understand his pastimes.
Okay.
Aninye swagraham putriya putram vitatarochisam swayam bhuvo muda yukto ruchir jagraha dakshinam. Swayambhuva Manu very gladly brought home the beautiful boy named Yagya. And Ruchi, his son-in-law, kept with him the daughter Dakshina. Swayambhuva Manu was very glad to see that his daughter Akuti had given birth to a boy and girl. He was afraid that he would take one son, and because of this, his son-in-law Ruchi might be sorry. Thus, when he heard that a daughter was born along with the boy, he was very glad. So Swayambhuva Manu was feeling, of course, you take away someone's child, he's going to be sad. But he's saying, okay, he has another baby to make him happy. Ruchi, according to his promise, returned his male child to Swayambhuva Manu and decided to keep the daughter, whose name was Dakshina. One of Lord Vishnu's names is Yagya, because he is the master of the Vedas. The name Yagya comes from Yajusham Patihi, which means Lord of all sacrifices. Lord of all sacrifices. So what is the Yagya for the age of Kali?
Harinam Sankirtan.
That's right. Thank you. That is the Yagya for this age of Kali, because in Vedic times, yes, all these Yagyas would be done. But now in Kali Yuga, we don't have the paraphernalia to which to offer it, and neither do we have the qualifications to chant those mantras. So the yajna that has been given to us in this age of Kali is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Sankirtan Yajna. So in Yajurveda, there are different ritualistic prescriptions for performing yajnas, and the beneficiary of all such yajnas is who? Is the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So we may wonder, what is this yajna happening for? All the yajnas are for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. The Sankirtan Yajna is also for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. My dear Krishna, I'm chanting this for your pleasure. I'm chanting the Hare Krishna mantra for your pleasure. My dear Krishna, I'm reading the Srimad Bhagavatam for your pleasure. So this is yajna. Therefore, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagnarthat Karmanaha. One should act, but one should perform one's prescribed duties only for the sake of yajna of Vishnu. If one does not act for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or if one does not perform devotional service, then there will be reactions to all one's activities. It does not matter if the reaction is good or bad. If our activities are not dovetailed with the desire of the Supreme Lord, or we do not act in Krishna consciousness, then we shall be responsible for the results of all our activities. So Krishna speaks about karma in Bhagavad Gita. We know practically also. In physics, we say every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So even in modern science, we do agree to that any activity you do, there is a reaction to it. So similarly, that is what is karma. We do some karma and we get a reaction to that. Now we may do something good and we will get pious result. And when we do something bad, we will get a sinful result. So when we get a sinful result, we suffer. And when we get some pious result, it leads us to more enjoyment. But here it's being said that we should not do any activity which is not related to devotional service, even if it is good. Why? If it's a good activity, it's going to give me pious result and I will be happy, then why should I not do it? It is said that do all the activities only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Do the duty for pleasing Krishna. Why is that?
Because Krishna, we are the servitors of Krishna. And if we do everything to please Krishna, then it will become a karma. We will not be bounded by its result if we offer everything to please Krishna, and if we do everything to please Krishna, then we will not be bounded by the result of it, and it becomes a karma. It becomes devotional service.
Whereas, and if we get attached to the result, then what happens?
Then we'll be still in the material world. We'll be bounded by it and we'll be in the material world.
That's right. Thank you. So we may get some good results.
Right? So that's punya karma, right?
Yes.
You're something not to please Krishna, not
for our sense gratification, right?
Yeah.
That is punya.
That's right. So it's punya karma, it's pious. It's going to bring us to the heavenly planets. But here we are being said, don't even do that. You just engage in devotional service. Why? Because as you rightly just now said, that punya karma is still going to keep us here in the material world. It will not bring us back home, back to Godhead. Only devotional service will bring us back home, back to Godhead. When we engage in all our duties, whatever duty we are supposed to do, we do that. We don't artificially stop our duties. No, do whatever duty we are supposed to do for the pleasure of Krishna. My dear Sri Krishna, I'm doing this duty for your pleasure. Then Krishna takes the responsibility. Then we do not get the result of it. Then we don't need to be here in the material world anymore to wait for the result. The result could be good or bad. But if we are waiting for the result, we have to continue remaining in the material world. There's always a reaction to every kind of action, but if actions are performed for yajna, there is no reaction. So then no reaction means the soul is free to go back home. No need anymore to stay in the material world. Thus, if one acts for yajna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is not entangled in the material condition. For it is mentioned in the Vedas and also in Bhagavad Gita that the Vedas and the Vedic rituals are all meant for understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya, that by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Why do we have so much Vedic knowledge? Why? To understand Krishna. So for all, the Vedas are so vast. And what are they trying to tell us? That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From the very beginning, one should try to act in Krishna consciousness that will free one from the reactions of material activities. So if we can always act for the pleasure of Krishna, then we will not get any reactions. We will not get any material karma. We can go back home, back to Godhead. So we continue to hear and chant. Hearing and chanting is not material. It's devotional service. And that is going to lead us back home, back to Godhead. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Did anyone want to add anything or comment anything?
Like as in Krishna, like how Rupa Goswami has also written in his book that the devotees, they don't aspire for any liberation or not even any kind of, they don't want mukti definitely, and they also don't want any kind of like going to heaven or any place, because they know that the best is Golok Vrindavan, to serve Krishna, to be in association wherever Krishna is. They are so highly qualified that they even say that अगर कृष्णा हमें नर्क में भेजो तो हम नर्क में भी खुश है, क्योंकि वहां पे कृष्णा है. So only we want Krishna, nothing else.
Jai, thank you. Thank you. So we'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.